Hello and welcome. My name is Michelle and I am your emotional resilience coach, and it is fantastic that you've joined me here today. If you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you feel like you are a victim in your own life, if you feel like things are just always going wrong and you seem to be repeating patterns and the same things just keep happening, and you are looking for a way to break out of that, and you are looking for a way to take your power back, you are in the right place. That is where I was a couple of years ago, and when I hit rock bottom and then found that there was a basement in my rock bottom, and I was so sick. Oh my gosh, I was sick. I had terrible stomach problems. I had terrible nausea and headaches and emotional trauma, and oh my word, I was in a really dark space. And I needed to find a way out, and I have found a way out, and I am always so excited and just so impassioned about teaching you the tools that I have learned and keep learning as I go along the way. And sometimes it is just a reframe. It's just a new way of thinking about something that is more empowering, that serves us, that allows us to have our own back in a situation. And today I want to talk to you about relationships. I want to talk to you about these things, and we've heard it. There's a season, there is a reason, and there is a lifetime with some relationships. And today I want to talk to you about the season and the reason. And so often when things don't last, we beat up on ourselves and we feel, oh my gosh, I failed. I was a failure. This relationship failed, and as such, I failed. And we become really personal about it. And the word fail has such a negative, heavy connotation upon us. And I'm sure it is a throwback to when we were in school. You know, you didn't want to fail, you needed to succeed, you needed to work and push through and get the results and achieve. And if you felt like you didn't get it, you kind of like beat up on yourself and you made it mean a whole lot of stuff about who you are. And we really tend to spin when it comes to this word failure. There's a lot of heaviness and there is a lot of drama when it comes to failing. And often what happens is we tend to walk around in life and we tend to feel that heaviness. And when relationships have turned sour, when things haven't worked out, when things have not been what we thought or hoped they could or should or would be, then we tend to say, oh man, I failed at that, and because I failed at that, that must mean that there is something inherently wrong with me, and we carry this burden, especially if you are a fellow Fawn / codependent, suffering from cptsd. These failures in our lives are so monumental, and we identify and define ourselves by them, and we beat up on ourselves, and we think that there is something deeply flawed within us. And the truth is that I homeschool. So I teach my children, and often when it comes to little tests, and maybe if they haven't done so great, what I like to say to my children, I like to reframe and say to them, it's not that you failed, you just learned something new. You learned where you need to put your efforts, you learned where you need to concentrate, you learned where you need to focus more on, something that you need to still discover, something that you need to still work through. It doesn't mean you failed, you have learned. And it is the same thing when it comes to these relationships that are for a season or a reason. There is a lesson in these relationships. There is something that we need to grow through, something that we need to take from this experience and figure out, what was it that I could have done better, or what was it that I needed to learn? Sometimes it's not even about us. Sometimes it is about other people. What was it that I contributed? What was it that I could have done better? You know, this is just a great opportunity for us to kind of check in with ourselves, to ground again within ourselves, sink in, align with yourself, and think, all right, what happened here? What could I have learned from? What did I need to grow from? So often our relationships that just run its course, it's run its course because it's served its purpose. Maybe you've been in a relationship which has triggered you severely, and it just turned into such a disastrous, heartbreaking, toxic, dysfunctional mess. And you think, wow, Michelle, that was a failure. And in the time of the pain, it might feel very well like it might have been a failure or a waste of time, or what was I doing? But we can just shift our focus and look at, well, what did I learn from there? What did I grow from that? How did I grow, from that experience? What did I learn from that experience? What was in that experience? I always say your direct experience is your teacher. So in that experience, what was it for me that I needed to take and be aware of? So often relationships for me, and I know if you are somebody who is a fawn or has cptsd, relationships can be absolutely terrifying, because it feels like that we have this disability that stains our lives and stains the relationships around us and just makes everything very murky and hard to navigate. But as you get on the road of healing and you clear out things for you, you realize that these people were drawn into your life because there were things that you needed to know, things you needed to address, and things you needed to figure out. What are the core wounds that were triggered within you that needed you to take notice? That big gaping wound, that grief, that hole that you feel, that void that you feel is sitting just in the very heart of you. What do you need to do to love it? What do you need to do to pour compassion and patience and kindness and all the things that perhaps were missing from your childhood or from your past? What do you need to do now? How are you going to fill that in now? How are you going to love yourself better? How are you going to accept yourself better? So that as you level up in life, you are able to make the relationships going forward better and stronger, because you've learned, you're wiser, you know more, you understand what makes you tick, you understand where boundaries are needed, you understand, and you are standing in a much different, more empowering place. And we so often want to look back and go, oh my gosh, if only that didn't happen. That was the worst decision of my life. What was I thinking? And the truth is that we drew that into our lives so that we could learn from it. There were lessons there. There were things that needed to be brought to our attention, that needed to be loved and healed and accepted. And there were things that we needed to just have as part of our experience for reasons. And sometimes those reasons are to go back and heal, and sometimes it's preparation for things to come. We don't know, but what we do want to do is we want to be open to the experience that life is working for you. Life is there to teach you and guide you and help you be the best version of yourself. And sometimes what that means is we go through hard things. That is what stretches us. If you think about it, when you're comfortable and you're complacent and you're in a familiar environment and place, we don't do much growing because we're feeling good and we don't feel like we need to stretch ourselves. But when we are in pain, we know we need to stretch ourselves to get out of that pain, to get to a brighter, better place. And it is not about being perfect, and it's not about having a perfect relationship. Life is intrinsically messy. People are messy. Relationships are messy. And I think if we just give ourselves the space, we'll realize that it is not about being perfect. It is about being human and being open to the experience of what does it mean to be human, and how can I lean into the experience of it? How can I grow from it? How can I stretch? What and who do I need to be so that I can level up and be the best version of me? If this resonates with you, if this is something that you felt could help somebody, please send it on, share it with them. Hit like, subscribe, leave me a comment, leave me a thought. Tell me what it is that you're going through. What do you want to be coached on? I always love to hear from you. And come on over to the Emotional Resilience Coach on Instagram and say hi to me there too. Embrace your life. Embrace the beauty of becoming. There are so many wonderful things and magical experiences to have and to learn from and to grow when we open ourselves to the idea that life is working for us. The universe has our